hi folks, Will at LR Workshop. I've finally got to the bottom of a conundrum with these swivel housing bolts. Now you may be aware that there are basically, you have 7 on one side, you have one special bolt or one separate part number, which is UYG5040, and then you have 6 of the other bolt, which is UYG5040. Now, to replace this, I bought, 2 of these to do both sides and 12 of these. But the parts that come are absolutely identical from the retailer. These are aftermarket parts and they're identical. So you kind of start questioning yourself, are they different? Now, 9 years ago, when I did the swivel on my previous Defender, these are the ones I bought here. So these are some left over. So I bought genuine ones of the 50s and genuine ones of the 40s. And at the time, I remember not being able to tell a difference between the two. They were basically the same. So I've always questioned myself, and I can read online people talk about how they are different, but I've never seen one for myself until now. These are the 7 bolts that came out of this swivel housing from my 2003 Defender, and they're the factory parts. One of these bolts is different. People will talk about, it's been a bit confusing as well, because some people say the threads, there's more threads, some people say the shoulder's longer, some people say they're fatter. Well, now I'll be able to tell you exactly what it is. The different one, now bear in mind these are laid out as they came out from the vehicle. I had a template here, 3 along the top, 4 along the bottom. The different one is that one. It's got a chamfer on the shoulder, and this one's straight cut all the way up. But the threads are actually the same length, and the bolt is the same length. The difference is that this one is wider. Okay, let me show you the difference. So this is the swivel hub they came out of. I'm putting them the other way around, but it shouldn't matter. See the play in that? So that's the fatter bolt, the single bolt, and this is one of the 6. Put that in there. See the difference in play? That is incredibly telling. That is it. So basically that is what the bolt should be. It's a fatter bolt, fatter around the shoulder. I've just measured these. This one's 10.5 millimeters on the shoulder, and these are 9.8 millimeters. So there's a 0.7 millimeter difference there. What I think confuses things is actually these later bolts you get, and bear in mind these are the ones bought in 2022, I think. These are ones bought in 2014, and it's got 2012 written on there. So these bolts, genuine one here for 2012 and 2022, they're basically the same. They've got this sort of chamfered shoulder on here. So when you join these up, and then this is UYG5040 and this is the 50 one, they look kind of similar because they've both got shoulders on. However, this is the fatter one. So it's still confusing yet again to the untrained eye. This one looks like it could be that one, or it's got a shoulder and there's similarity there, but it's not. It's all in the dimensions. There, 1053, 987. It varies a bit because they've got a bit of crud on them. 98 something, but basically there's a difference. What confuses things even more is people will sell these on eBay in packs of 7 or packs of 14, believing that you should fit all the same bolts. Well, I mean, there'll be thousands of Defenders out there running probably all the same bolts on their Defenders, on their swivel housings and balls. Does it matter? Well, that's not for me to judge, but all I want, or all I would prefer, is that the vehicle is the way it should be as it was designed. So that's a personal choice. As to what its purpose is, so it's called a fitted bolt. I think that's the terminology. Its purpose is not to locate the swivel ball in the axle, because that is the purpose of the shoulder. The shoulder is what locates it. This is to prevent any rotation or any rotational play. So this prevents any kind of rotation I expect that could happen under braking or acceleration. It tends to want to do this. But the idea as well is that it sets the caster angle correctly. That's what I've read, people have said. And how critical that is, well, I don't know, but we're talking about 0.7 millimeters. It's the difference between probably that and that. And if that's the difference between vertical and not vertical, then that's the difference between having a caster angle and not having a caster angle. So yeah, we can only guess potentially, unless anyone would like to enlighten the rest of us in the comments. But anyway, what does confuse it even more as well, there's another bolt which is not UYG5040 as you would have for the single bolt on its own. There's a bolt also called VYG5040, which is a bloody great long bolt, and there's actually one on eBay at the moment where somebody has typed in the part number wrong. So if you search for this bolt, you'll come up with a picture of that item on eBay, which confuses things even more if you're trying to figure out what is the actual, identification or difference between this bolt, and is it worth ordering one of these rather than buying 7 the same. There we go. That has been a 10-year mystery, and I think I've just solved it. And it's only by having basically a factory fresh vehicle or factory fitted parts that I've been able to decode that, because you cannot rely on the aftermarket. It seems to be that everyone just supplies the same bolt no matter what. The other problem is these come in packs of 10, and you can buy these from a retailer. Let's say this is the 40. You can buy this from a retailer, genuine bag parts, but you've got to buy a bag of 10, which is about 45 quid. Who's going to spend 45 quid buying 10 bolts just to get the 2 they need for the entire axle? So what retailers tend to do is they'll split it. They'll sell it as genuine, but they'll split the bag, and the 10th person to buy one will actually probably get the real bag, and everyone else just gets random stuff. So what I can imagine in the retailers in their warehouse, you've got, like, these are going to be ordered together. You're never really going to order just one of those or just a few of these. You're going to order both at the same time. So these are probably sat next to each other on the shelf. Someone comes along, grabs a handful of these, looks at the 2 and goes, 7 of those and 1 of those, 2 of those. They get a bit jumbled up and things go back in the wrong bag potentially. That is the risk with buying the genuine parts, and I think that's probably what happened 10 years ago, because they were the different parts. They were they were different part numbers, but they were identical bolts when I did this 9 or 10 years ago. I mean, Land Rover had been known to mess up in the past, but that's the risk with actually buying these and trying to figure it out just from buying the parts. This has been the only source that I've been able to find to definitively figure out what's going on, is taking off a factory fitted part and identifying it. So in summary, I don't actually have this part as a replacement. I'm going to fit new ones of these, and then I'm going to keep this one because this is the real deal. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now.